All right, so here's what we're doing. First of all, I want to talk about the lesson. The lesson is you have to sprint through the finish line.
Hustle through 63's catching you.
And what I mean by that is a lot of people, especially during the end of the year, you know, right around the holidays, it's really easy to downshift. I always had a philosophy, and let me give you context. In every business I had, when I mowed grass, I used this time that I would go out when all my competitors, when the grass would die, I would go out and knock on doors and get new accounts for the following year. Share with you what they said. You would be shocked on how much we nailed it. I want to know everybody that's saying, like, example right now, everybody that's saying, yeah, we're going to list our home after the holidays. Right? When I was, you know, actively in the field, in the trenches selling real estate, you know, this is when I knew people would be home. You know, when you make phone calls this time of the year, people are typically home, not during the pandemic because everybody's home. I'm talking about people were home for the holidays home and they answered their phone calls. So you got to take advantage. It's really like a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. When you're looking at a SWOT, you got to also look at not only your personal SWOT, but you got to look at your competitor SWOT. What's their weakness, right? Are they going snow skiing? Are they doing this? Especially when you're on the come up, especially when you're trying to come up in your business. This is a place where the market slows down, but the agents typically slow down at a greater proportion, especially those agents that are on pace to hit their goals and they're kind of out Christmas shopping, spending time with friends and family, which is something you should aspire to do. But on the same token, if you have goals, you want to finish strong, you want to run across the finish line. I'll give you an example. One year in particular, I remember going into the end of the year with 2 deals on the books on December 2nd, ended up closing 16 transactions. Now, the truth is I closed 16 transactions because I had to. Like, I didn't put myself in a position, I kept myself in theory broke. And what I mean by that is, you know, I kept myself in a position always. I saved my money, I didn't spend it, so I had core capital. And this is where every time I try to tell this story, it doesn't make sense to me because I'm trying to recall the story and then it doesn't even make sense. But for some reason, I had the discipline that when I put money away, that it's like I didn't have it. So I would literally have the money and still act like I didn't. And I don't know how I did that, but that is a true statement. I still do it to this day. So when I put money into savings, I've always thought that was like planting a tree, right? And if you can imagine, you put a seed in the ground and then you spend 8 months watering it and it comes up. You don't want to yank that. It takes 8 months for it to just break the ground. So you don't want to yank it up. You know, you want to keep watering it. And that was kind of a metaphor that was taught to me. So I always thought that if I went to my savings, all that energy and effort, when I saved $1,000 and my bills were $3, but I made $4, I'd have to go make $4 again to save that next $1,000. So taking the money I saved was out. I always lived in account. I was accountable for this month, this time, and that was just a framework. So when I went into December, I felt as if you'd be taking from me if I didn't hit my goals, right? If I didn't achieve my financial goals, I would lose money. And so I would run through the finish line, and I just see people, what they do is they go into a bad month. They go in, and first of all, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan on what to do when they're not on track. They don't know how to get back on pace. The way you get back on pace is you have to know what your highest leverage activity is. And then you have to make sure that you're doing that activity and you're doing it in November and December. If you want to know why agents struggle in January, it's not only because the bell curve, it's because in December they weren't out there. For me, December was my 4th best month on average over a 10-year span. 4th best month. So I can go into that month thinking, oh, it's Christmas, it's the holidays, it's going to be slow, so I'm going to say yes to this and that. Or I could say, you know what, agents aren't going to be calling expireds, agents aren't going to be calling FSBOs, agents aren't going to be doing this. And for me, in 2016, that was circle prospecting, that was doing survey calls, that was saying, hey, this is Michael Reese, I'm doing a homeownership survey, we're closing out 2016, and I just had a couple quick questions, just was curious if you planned on selling your house in the next 12 months. Oh, matter of fact, we're gonna be doing it after the holidays, gonna be putting the home on the market in February. So I was banking that pipeline, knowing that I could make up for the lack of sales in December and February, and I could do that by stacking the pipeline. So for me right now, personally, you know, what I do for a living is I partner with agents, I help agents.
Because of you guys, we were able to close 9 deals, 7 pendings, and then on top of that, we bought a house.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All in
New
6
con-
months.
new
All right, baby,
construction.
let's go.
Yeah.
You know, this morning, where do we go this morning, crew? Where do we go?
To the store.
No, this morning we didn't go to the store. Remember where we went?
The beach.
We went to the beach and we went surfing, right? And then after we went surfing for an hour, we came home and I had calls. Because we give great health insurance and you're talking to us. It just happens naturally once you start to experience the value. So our goal is to help you be more productive. I had 4 calls with 4 potential partners. I nailed the calls and now we're heading to get the cake. And for me, this was all in the calendar. This was all part of the plan. I haven't slowed down. I laid out my calendar not only to create content like I'm doing now, which I don't have to create this content, I'm creating this content because it's in alignment with my strategy. It's my HLA, it's the activity that I do that has a cause and effect relationship on my desired outcome. It's the way that, it's what I believe. I believe that the agent that provides the most value wins. And I believe if creating a video like this to inspire somebody that might be sitting there in their mind, because the biggest constraint that you have is not the constraint itself, it's how you're thinking about the constraint. Every problem has a solution. It's not the problem, it's how you're thinking about the problem. So be accountable. 100-0. What could you do right now? What are you in control of that you could be doing tomorrow and the next day? And I'm not saying don't go enjoy your turkey, but in the book Hard Things About Hard Things, Ben Horzik, I'm not pronouncing his last name right, but you can go check it out. One of the best books ever. I can spell it, but I can't pronounce it. But he says there's 2 times in a business. Okay? And he talks about the Walking Dead business. That's the business that's walking dead, you know, just out there, no transactions in the pipeline, no plan, no nothing. But as the owner of the business, you have a responsibility, and this is the responsibility. You're either in peacetime and wartime. And when it's wartime, you got to strap up. You got to get out there and get to work. You know, if you don't have deals on the books, if you're not hitting your goal, if you got people relying on you, then get to work. Now, if you're doing good and it's peacetime, then go do whatever you do. I'm just telling you that I made most of my money during wartime, and it was with that wartime mindset. It was being accountable to myself and what I do daily. So if you want to win, you got to unlock the constraint. And it's never the problem. It's how you're thinking about the problem. Every problem has a solution.